travel at speeds pushing 200 miles per hour. The very best drivers in the world putting their lives on the line every week. It's time to get the lowdown on this week's contenders, plus a look at the key driver matchups. Right now on Gaughan Racin.
And welcome in, everybody, to Gaughan Racin. Brendan Gaughan here with Mr. Jeff Motley, and this is Gaughan Racin, the fabulous VSiN studio at the South Point. And Mr. Motley, thank you for allowing me to come back this week. I know I was on hiatus.
Exciting for you to be racing down in Baja last weekend. And guess what we have this weekend? Where are we racing this weekend?
We got a little busy week, me and you, this week.
Absolutely.
The South Point 400. So we are at, of course, Las Vegas Motor Speedway this weekend. The reason why I get away with wearing a hat all the time, why we get to wear the South Point 400 polo shirts, is because this is our week, man. This is what, I mean, we work all year at the South Point. You know, you, of course, have 2 races, but this is a big deal for us. Last night, how about the folks, if they came out to the South Point on Wednesday night? Free Budweiser at the pool with the Clydesdales, Riley Herbst signing autographs, me out there. A couple people remember who I was signing autographs, but I mean,
you were like the mayor out there.
I don't know if I was the mayor, but there's one NASCAR guy that has that title. But you know what? It was a great time. The fans loved it. Budweiser's such a great partner to, of course, us at the South Point, and you know, it was such a neat event. So cool to have those guys out there.
Just a great way to kick off race week.
No, and the Clydesdales will be at the South Point booth all week at the Speedway, so you'll be able to take pictures with them all week at the South Point booth in the Midway. But you know, I was out playing hooky on you, racing in Baja, driving off of cliffs, and the worst part was the cliff I drove off of is a famous cliff called Walker Curve. Anybody that knows my history knows I drove for a man named Walker Evans most of my life.
I was wondering if Walker Evans had anything to do with it.
Yeah, that was Walker Evans' curve. I was there the year he did it when I was a teenager, and it's a famous cliff.
If you were a teenager, that was a long time ago.
Yes,
that
it
clip
was.
Is still there, huh?
Yes, and I still drove off it. So, yeah, that was my bad. But we did have a great slate of races last weekend. Xfinity race, I only got to see a part of that, but our guy Riley
needed to see was the last lap.
But Riley Herbst, man, what a heck of a last lap for him, making the playoffs. He was, you know, it was tight for him to make that the playoffs for the Xfinity Series. So great job to Riley. Of course, he's running a South Point car this weekend.
Top 5 for him, and it was like a real Days of Thunder moment. You know, seeing Allmendinger and Cindric come across the line sideways. So
it was phenomenal.
That was a terrific race. And then we had sparks and fireworks and almost fisticuffs, which is not a big surprise at Bristol for a Cup race.
Listen, the fisticuffs.
Well, it wasn't fisticuffs.
Hold on, listen.
It was a heated exchange. It was actually 3 of them.
Listen, without me being there anymore, there's not many real fighters left in that whole deal. Let's start with that.
No, but 20 years ago, Harvick jumped over a car and threw Greg Biffle up against the car. Now Harvick's getting out of the car
with his helmet on.
With his helmet on,
dude,
and having a
I'm not even going to talk about it.
But I've never seen 2 drivers have three separate conversations. Of course, the third one was out of view of everyone inside of Chase's hauler.
You know, and here's the deal. Kevin comes over with that helmet on with me. I'm also upset with Chase. He's going to come over to you with the helmet on. You grab that chin and you freaking pow, give him one on the hood of the car. You're going to come over with the helmet.
Chase didn't have his helmet on.
That's what I'm saying. Kevin did. You grab that thing by the chin.
See, I think Chase got out of his car so quickly. Kevin said, I'm getting out of my car because I'm not going to have him go all Clint Boyer on Ryan Newman here. And I think that Kevin just wanted to get out of the car before Chase got over to the window of his car. I give Kevin a break on that.
Take the helmet off, Kevin. Take the helmet off.
I just don't think he had time.
I talked to Josh Jones this week, too. I had a little
Josh looked like he was part of the argument as well.
I had a funny conversation with him. Anyway, we digress. We did have racing that happened.
We did have racing.
And we did have people make bets, amazingly enough. And Kyle Larson, what a season, man.
Yeah, and that was his first win ever at Bristol, which was amazing. I was surprised by that.
If people are surprised, I think they didn't listen to our show at the start of the season.
Well, I agree with you. I mean, he certainly has proven now, with Hendrick. And look, he got it all started here in Las Vegas. That was his first win. His first win with Hendrick. He was not the best car, but he was in the right place at the right time in that deal on Saturday night.
And look at some of the odds that we had. He was to win 450. A top 3 was 150, the favorite, of course. Group A, a 240. Hendrick Motorsports was 220 to win. He was negative numbers against Kyle and Denny. So if you had your tickets on Kyle Larson, to win the race, 450, not he was one of the favorites. I mean,
right, he was the second favorite behind Kyle Busch going into last week.
So, I mean, it's, small numbers there, but still great job for Kyle Larson. And you still make money if you're betting on him. I mean, he's a machine right now, coming to a racetrack, of course, that he won this year. If you look at the Bristol, the top 10, there was even a large return in a top 10, not a double digit, but you had William Byron with a plus 800. So you had a Kevin Harvick 370, a William Byron plus 800. Talk about championship implications, though. William Byron coming from a huge deficit. I bet you said last weekend, I bet you wrote him off.
I will tell you, we did write him off.
And here he goes. Stage points comes through to get that. Alex Bowman rebounding with a great week. You got a Brad K up there. How about Eric Jones and Matty D, though? Eric Jones, it's funny. Of course, I could not do the show last week, but I did my fantasy show. I was able to get in with Pete Pistone. And how many times this year have we said, Eric Jones, we looked at his stats and said, he is great at Darlington. He is great at this place. And we go,
but he's not in the Gibbs car. But he's not
with the Gibbs car. I said that on Fantasy Racing Preview, and look at him right there, top 10, 8th place finish. Great job for Eric Jones.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned Matt DiBenedetto coming in there in 10th. I don't really know that comes as a surprise to anybody. I mean, he should have won at Bristol a couple of years ago, and he got
only time I've ever seen a guy win the race and say he felt bad.
Yeah, I mean, Denny Hamlin almost said, "I wish Matt had won the race," but I mean, he wasn't giving the trophy back.
No. He felt bad for that brief moment. Let's look real quick at the playoff standings now, since here we are, first round of the second round of the playoffs. Of course, at Las Vegas. And I think Kurt Busch is the one I'm surprised that did not advance.
Well, obviously, he had horrible luck at Richmond, and they just were never as good at Bristol as they normally are.
They sucked. 21st, and 23rd was his two play. All he needed was a couple stage points, anything.
Right.
He stunk, and it absolutely stinks because we were all, of course, me and Jeff, we're a little biased here on the Kurt Busch bandwagon. But you look how the playoffs start. You've said it all season long. What's going to hurt Kevin Harvick?
Playoff points.
He starts the second round 12 points behind the cutoff line. I mean, that is going to be extremely difficult for him to make it up.
And how we had talked about the momentum that William Byron was building throughout the season, but then he struggled down the stretch.
Brought it home when he needed it.
But now when you go back and you look at what he accomplished early in the season, that's the reason he is right now in the top 8 going into this race.
That's right.
A guy who was basically written off going into Bristol because they had squandered all those bonuses. But guess what? When you advance to the next round, you get those bonus points back again. And that's a huge boom there.
And that's a big deal. Now, one thing I want to point out is this round for the Fords. Now, this is going to affect my betting here, Jeff. I've talked all season that the Fords, we saw the New Hampshire race where the Fords flat out dominated New Hampshire. That race package is called the 750 high horsepower, low downforce package. Now, this is the only round the Fords really need to worry about. You've got Las Vegas Motor Speedway, which is the 550 package.
Right. That's probably going to be a negative.
You've got Talladega, which is go ahead.
You say it.
Go ahead.
It's a crapshoot.
Thank you very much. And then you end up with Charlotte Roval. So you have 3. This is the round that the Fords really need to worry, and that's not good for Kevin Harvick. That's not good for Brad K or Joey. And Ryan Blaney, who's sitting safe right now, 11 points in. It's not good for those 3 guys.
No, it's not. But that those guys are going into Las Vegas with a great deal of confidence. I mean, Joey has won the spring race in Vegas in both 19 and 20.
Yep.
Brad, if he gets one more win in Vegas, he ties Jimmy Johnson for the most wins ever at Las Vegas. He's got 3 Cup wins. So Brad's got 3 Cup wins. Joey's got 2 Cup wins. He won the first.
No, he won the inaugural South Point 400.
So that was in 2018.
That's right. So it wasn't too long.
It hasn't been that long ago. So, and Blaney has always run well here. So I think even though we talk about the downforce package, I don't think there's any question they will take a certain measure of confidence into this weekend just because they've had so much success at this track.
Well, I'm telling you, this weekend is the one I'm worried about with them. This round, the Fords have not proven themselves well on this package this season, and this round is going to be the tough one. With it being Vegas, Talladega, Charlotte, this is going to be a difficult round for them. But we'll see. Championship odds, though, Jeff, we've talked about it all season. The futures, and the futures right before the playoffs started versus now, and you look. Once again, I'll jump right to that William Byron number. William Byron, 15-1 before the playoffs. 12. He's gone the right way for bettors. And I think he was even higher last week. I think he was like 25 to 1 last week.
Because he looked like he was on the outside.
Because he looked like he's on the outside looking in. You got to look at those numbers and look where Kyle Larson's gone. Kyle Larson, if you thought it couldn't get any lower for a championship, he went from 240 to 200.
Well, and he has got such a big buffer on the cutoff for this round.
Yeah.
It's huge. I mean, granted, obviously, if he blew an engine at Vegas and then got in a big crash early at Talladega, it would be a different situation.
It could, but still, a plus 200.
But then you still know he's going to go to Charlotte and run well on the Roval.
But look right now at the championship odds. Denny Hamlin has gone to 650. Okay, still a decent number, but how about Chase Elliott? Gone the right way for us bettors. Martin Truex, right way for us. Kyle Busch, right way for us. Everybody's moving. Everybody is betting Kyle Larson on the futures. That's why it's going there. Take advantage right now while you can, because right now you got Chase Elliott at a 700, Martin Truex 750, a Kyle Busch 800.
Well, one guy that you and I talked about going into the playoffs, we said, look, if you're going to get him now, is Denny Hamlin. And Denny Hamlin has run strong since we got into the playoffs. Very strong. And look, Denny's never won a championship. I know there's a hunger level out there for Denny right now, and I don't know. I would not be shocked. Will not be shocked.
Well, the odds are only going to keep going worse for Denny Hamlin.
Exactly.
So for the better. So if you want it, you better jump on it, because he's going to join the Kyle Larson. If he has another round like he had last round, that's going to be a plus 400 by the end of this round. It's going to be even lower by the time we get further.
And where are the last two races? Martinsville and Phoenix. And who runs pretty darn well at Martinsville and Phoenix? But Denny Hamlin is the one I think will be there. I don't know if that Harvick will be there.
I'm just saying.
He'll show up, but I don't know if he's going to be
Kevin
on
Harvick,
the final
18 to 1. Those last two rounds, like you said, are great for Kevin Harvick. So there's great rounds here. If you want them, bet them now. All right, that's enough of that. When we come back, we're going to get into the race of the South Point 400 and the odds to win when we return. And welcome back in, everybody. Brendan Gaughan, Jeff Motley, Gaughan Racing here. We are now going to start giving the odds on the South Point 400 here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway this weekend. And Motley, a lot of excitement and a lot of good numbers here. A lot of guys, I think, have a chance to win this one. But we're going to start off with, of course, the favorite just about every weekend now, Kyle Larson.
Well, he's going to be the favorite because he won the spring race and because he's been so strong all year long. Now, I do want to point something out. This is the fourth year that there have been two races in Las Vegas.
Yep.
So the first 3 years, how many people you think won the spring race and won the fall race?
0.
That'd be 0. You're correct.
Well, but if you look at the lucky in Vegas guys, like you talked about it a minute ago, Brad Keselowski got 3 wins. He did win the first South Point 400.
Not only that, look, both Brad Keselowski and Joey Logano, their number of races and their number of top tens.
That's
11 out of 16.
That's impressive right there. But even look, Kyle Larson, 10 races, 7 top tens. There's some guys that have run well there, but a lot of winners. Kevin Harvick, Martin Truex, Joey Logano, all multiple winners with Brad K. Kyle Busch, and Kyle Larson, of course, with the one earlier this year. A lot of guys run well here, and a lot of guys, you go down that list to like a Christopher Bell who's in the playoffs, only 3 data points, but one of them a top 10. And has run very well here and run well on the 1.5 miles. So there's a lot of stuff happening here. A lot of guys I think can win this race. Ryan Blaney, 10 races, 7 top 10s.
Well, and I think one thing to watch too is we talked about all the success that Keselowski and Logano have had here, and there was a period of time from 2016 to 2019 that it was either one of those two guys or Martin Truex Jr. winning. So we had a lot of Fords winning plus Truex there in his Toyota. Well, now the last 2 races in Vegas have been won by Chevrolets. Kurt Busch won last fall and Kyle Larson winning this spring. So, you have your theory about how the Chevys run a little bit better with this package, and maybe there's proof in the pudding right there. Although I think Denny Hamlin
and the Toyotas.
Denny Hamlin in a Toyota and Matt DiBenedetto in a Ford very well could have been the 2 best cars in Vegas last year in the fall. Kurt did
last year. That was before That was before the Fords had their problem this year.
Kyle Larson was clearly the dominant car in the spring.
Absolutely. And let's get to the odds to win this race then. We'll start, like we said, Kyle Larson, he's a plus 200. Denny Hamlin's 550. Chase Elliott's plus 700. Martin Truex Jr. 750. Kyle Busch 800.
Are you looking at the same thing I'm looking at?
Not the same. Oh, that's championship odds. How about that one?
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Let's start that all over again then, shall we?
Brendan just got fired.
Yeah, that's why I'm not the host. That's why they fire me all the
We'll
time.
rehire you because I don't want to do this by myself.
My dad fires me all the time. He loves doing it, so you guys can do it next. Let's start with the odds to win the race then. How about that? Let's start this over, Jeff.
Yeah.
It was close. Hey, almost close.
Yeah,
Kyle Larson plus 350. I mean, I was on it. Kyle Busch is 600. Denny Hamlin is 700. Chase Elliott is 800. Martin Truex is 9. Then you get double digits. Kevin Harvick, Joey Logano 10 and 11 to 1. William Byron 12. Ryan Blaney 14. Brad K 15. There's a lot of race winners right there. Kevin, Joey, and Brad, all double digit guys. That's mildly impressive, Jeff.
It is, and I think the inner struggle here is with the success that Brad and Joey have had in Vegas, but the success they've had lately anywhere.
Well, it's once again, the mile-and-a-half tracks this year have not been good to the Ford camp. So I think that if you're going to see a winner, do you think we'll get a winner off the second page? Do you think we'll get a winner off of the non-playoff guys or some of the further back playoff guys?
Well, I certainly think Kurt can contend.
I do
because
too.
I think when you see how well he ran at Atlanta, he is a very confident. And look, he would love to repeat. I mean, this is a big deal for him anytime he's racing in Las Vegas. And he seems to run better when the track is cooler. And we know once the sun goes down, we're going to see a dramatic shift in track temperature. So if I was going to the second page, I would say probably Kurt and potentially an Alex Bowman, because I do think the Chevrolets are going to run very well. That's why I really, really like numbers as high as like a plus 800 on Chase Elliott.
Well,
Alex Bowman 18 to 1 is a pretty big number.
Look, 18 to 1, Christopher Bell 20 to 1. You say Kurt Busch 25, Tyler Reddick 45, Matty D 50, Austin Dillon 50.
Right, Matt DiBenedetto, who finished second in both races in 2020 in Las Vegas. I know I understand.
But let's talk about 60 to 1 Ross Chastain, who we wrote off at the start of the playoffs saying that all the resources are going to go at Ganassi, has had two of the two top
really well
fives
until Bristol. He did not have a good day at Bristol.
He had
but
two top
nobody
fives
at
in
Ganassi
3
had
rounds.
a good day at Bristol.
So 60 to 1. You want your long shot. You want your first non-playoff, non-Talladega, playoff winner. Ross Chastain 60 to 1. You want to take a flyer? I think there's a decent one to shoot one on.
All right. I guess you'll be leading after this week.
I didn't say I was going to bet it. I was just saying if you want to, put a little coin
It's just
down
one unit.
It's just one unit. Listen, I need one unit to get me back in. I just need one of those. Let's go to the odds for the top 3. Of course, Motley, they always mirror it. You got Kyle Larson is plus 120 now that I'm reading the right sheet to start off. Kyle Busch is 200. Denny Hamlin's plus 230. Chase Elliott 270. MTJ 300. Kevin Harvick 330 with Joey Logano 360. William Byron 400. Brian Blaney 450. Brad K plus 500. DraftKings definitely tightened things down here on the old top 3. They got every playoff guy less than a plus 500 for a top 3.
That's true, and I'm not necessarily surprised about that. Now, I look at Denny Hamlin plus 230 for a top 3. I kind of like that number there.
It's a decent number.
I think
it'll be just as big as his group win, and he's running that strong to be top 3. I like that. I do agree.
Yeah, I think he's. But I look right now. The Chevrolets seem to be pretty good on these 1.5 mile tracks as well. So I'm not gonna talk about Kyle Larson because I think we know what Kyle Larson's capable of. But I mean, Chase Elliott's got a good number on him. William Byron a plus 400. I mean, I don't see a scenario where William Byron does not come out and run well this weekend. Well, I really think this is a track that can really set up for William to run well.
You go back to the spring race here at Las Vegas. William Byron finished 8th, was 7th and 4th in the stages. So William Byron, and that was before we all jumped kind of on the William Byron bandwagon about how well these things have been working for him. I think William Byron, that's a good number at plus 400. I do agree, Denny Hamlin and Chase Elliott. And how about the second page, though? You got a couple there, Motley, that I'm not too afraid of. Alex Bowman, 600. Seabell, who has run so well lately again. He's back on the running well side of 650. You got Kurt Busch. We just said Kurt's out of it, but you know what? He's run great all year long at these type of places.
And he's not going to be racing like he's out of it. I think we know Kurt well enough.
No.
He's racing for wins.
No, Kurt right now is going to absolutely basically say, hey, I'm here to shake things up. So Kurt Busch there at 850. Then you got a huge drop after that, though. Tyler Reddick, 15. Matty D, 16. Austin Dillon, 16. And there's that guy again I talked about, Ross Chastain, 20 to 1.
By the way, there's a playoff driver at 20 to 1. Almirola, he's still in it, I believe.
No, Almirola's out, dude.
He get knocked out? Bowman made it, right? Almirola didn't make it? I can't remember.
We just put him up here.
Through those.
Yeah, Almirola's out.
That's right.
But
yeah, that's right, because he lost out by like 1 point last week.
But I mean, those numbers
Bowman
right
made
there.
it
I think that Ross Chastain 20-1. Once again, I like him.
There was somebody on page 2. It's Bowman. It's on page 2.
Bowman and Seabell. But I think that Ross Chastain 20 is actually a fairly decent shot. If I liked him at 60-1 to win the race, 20-1.
Well, you know who else has had some sneaky decent runs in Vegas is Austin Dillon.
He has.
Austin Dillon has actually run well here, and again, it gets back to the Chevrolets being very strong right now.
And Tyler and Austin have run well at the 1.5 miles, and you go down through the stats once again. Austin and Tyler, they were not running as strong at the start of the season, but you look midway through the season, they were really strong on these 1.5 miles with this package. So they're two guys. If you want to take a long shot right there, I like both of them.
And I don't know which one to take, but I'm telling you, I believe there will be a top 3 that will come off of page 2.
I believe there'll be a top 3. I mean, I think Seabell, that's kind of he's on page 2, so Seabell is kind of my argument there along with Bowman. But I think we'll definitely see, the bad part is, I think we'll see a top 5 non-playoff guy, but top 5 on Gaughan Racing doesn't pay the bills when it comes to cash and tickets on our show.
No, you got to get a top 3. But I swear, I look at those top 3 right there, and I really think we're going to see somebody like an Austin Dillon or Alex Bowman, maybe Ross Chastain get a top 3.
I would, maybe next year we talk about going top 5.
That's a lot of picks to go through.
Oh, I'm just saying, a lot top 5. Listen, as bad as I'm doing right now, I'm trying to find anything to get me back to even money here.
But obviously, when you get into top 5s and top 10s, the numbers get a lot smaller too.
Absolutely.
So you're not going to be. You might be cashing a ticket. You just won't be cashing quite as big of a ticket if you're doing that.
I'm still cashing a ticket. I mean, listen, that's all we get. All we talk about is cashing tickets. We don't care if it's a bigger ticket or smaller ticket. I take minus tickets, still a win. But
pigs get fed and hogs get slaughtered, right?
That's right. Michael Gaughan's favorite saying. I've been told that since I was a kid. So, I mean, for top 3 and win, there's some guys we absolutely do like. I do believe Denny Hamlin at that 230 number is one that I'm kind of contemplating circling. I do like your Chase Elliott, but I'll tell you what, that William Byron 400 is also enticing there. I'm not going to get William Byron high anywhere else except to win the race. In his group, he's not going to be that big, so.
No, I think you're right. But, again, I think William Byron is going to have a strong run. I think that William Byron can be a contender to win.
Yeah.
I really do. And I don't think Kyle Larson's going to win. I just don't think there's going to be a sweep. I don't think there's going to be a sweep.
Yeah, but if he doesn't win, he's probably going to be second or third or 37th because he blew a motor. It's going to be one of those things.
No, he'll run strong. He's starting on the front row, which is good. Means you don't worry about the tire rub or something like that getting into somebody on a quick start or something like that. So,
all right. Well, there's your odds to win. There's your top 3. And when we come back on Gaughan Racing, we'll get into the group matchups and the head-to-heads, and then later on we'll finish our picks up for the South Point Fronter. See you soon. Welcome again, everybody. Brendan Gaughan, Jeff Motley, Gaughan Racing. We're talking South Point for 100, and we're now, Mr. Motley, at that time that we get to our head-to-head matchups and our group matchups. And Jeff, we actually just joked off air during commercial break there. The head-to-heads are fun today.
Well, bigger numbers than I can remember ever seeing on the head-to-head, and I know we like to talk about picking a driver on the don't line. If you want to take Kyle Larson on the don't line
you get
this
some
week,
big returns.
There's some money to be made
with some huge names.
Huge
I mean,
names and
not
huge
just
numbers. Yes.
I mean, how often do you see a head-to-head that Kyle Busch is getting 130? Well, he's 130 against a minus 150 Kyle Larson. How about Denny Hamlin plus 140 to a minus 160 Kyle Larson, still a 20-cent spread. Martin Truex Jr. 140, Kyle Larson or Chase Elliott 150 plus 150 in a head-to-head.
So in that column right there, you've got 4 NASCAR championships by 3 different drivers against Kyle Larson.
Yeah.
You've also got 2 former Las Vegas Motor Speedway winners. Martin Truex Jr. is a 2-time winner.
And Kyle
Busch with a win. And Denny Hamlin, who has, number one, has been so close to a championship and so close to wins at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, it's almost like you feel like you should throw him into the same group. It's an amazing group of drivers right there to have Kyle Larson be that large of a favorite.
Well, I mean, look, we agree that Kyle is the favorite, but man, that is I mean, that's impressive right there. And if you get off that one, you still have some great ones. I've been bragging about about Christopher Bell and how well he's been running lately, and how I believe the Fords aren't as strong right now. Well, how about a plus 120 to a Joey Logano, minus 140 over there on the right-hand column? I mean, that's a decent number right there on Seabell.
Well, how about a 3-time winner in Brad Keselowski plus 130 against William Byron? And look, I want to bet Brad Keselowski so bad on that, but I'm so in on William Byron this week.
Well, and I'm making fun of the Fords, but Brad K finished second in the race here at the Pennzoil 400 this year. And so I'm saying the Fords aren't good, but you go back to then.
And look, I'm not one to take a shot at you, Brendan, because you know I love you. But the last time I believe we had this conversation about how the Fords didn't have a chance, I believe I said to you a Ford is going to win this race.
That was New Hampshire.
No, that was Michigan. And it was Ryan Blaney winning because remember I couldn't hit the
I don't recall.
I couldn't hit the send button on the text fast enough.
I don't recall. I don't think there's any proof of that.
I think my point is sometimes I think we need to remember the history and the success at a facility. And Brad Keselowski with 3 wins in Vegas and a second place already this year, he's a guy you've got to give respect to in this race, even though I don't think he really has earned or deserved much respect in the playoffs this far.
We don't archive our shows on the YouTube stuff and all that we have, do we?
I'm sure we can go find it. We need to replay something?
No, I don't think so. I don't recall that ever happening. I hit my head a lot. I don't remember those things. So
you had a text queued up to send me too.
I did too. I did absolutely. But the best part about this is I'm saying how poo-pooing the Fords on this package, and you go back to the Pennzoil 400 at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Brad Keselowski second, with a first and second in stage 1, stage 2, and old Ryan Blaney up there with a third and sixth in stage 2 with a 5th place finish. So I'm saying how poor the Fords have been running on this package, and then I go back to the the Pennzoil 400 and say, hey, look at how good they did.
The Penske cars are always good in Vegas, and I don't know what it is because they don't necessarily run well at some of the other mile and a halves like they run in Vegas. I know they've had some success at Texas, at least Joey has, but Vegas, for whatever reason, I mean, you've got Brad with 3 wins, you've got Joey with 2 wins, and Ryan always seems to run well.
Wish they could have run that well when I was there. Okay, let's move on from the head-to-heads then. A lot of fun in the head-to-heads for a change, though. I think I even have a head-to-head for my bet this week. Let's go to the group matchups, though, Jeff. And you want to talk about some – I'll tell you what, the betting this week. What's fun about the betting this week is, one, you're in Las Vegas. So – you can bet right from the grandstands. If you have your mobile app, but you have to get your deposits first. Whether it's
come down here to the South Point.
Well, there's South Point, there's BetMGM, there's DraftKings. They're all legal.
But where are we? And
we're
who's
at South Point.
The race?
Hey, I'm
okay. Come on.
I'm equal opportunity. I talk about them all. You know what I mean? So you can have
this weekend.
The South Point app. You can have the BetMGM app. You're going to get better odds at the South Point. I'm just saying. But you can bet right from the grandstands, which is really cool that we get to talk about it this week. And of course, the casinos are all here. And in the head-to-head and the group matchups, huge numbers on dogs. There are huge numbers.
There are huge numbers. I mean,
with big names.
Right. I mean, I know you like to read them off. So if you want to go through the Group A there.
If you start with Group A, Kyle Larson is plus 185. You're not getting what was he? 200 to win the dang race. I mean, not getting much better. Kyle Busch 290, Denny Hamlin 325, and Martin Truex Jr. 325. That's a Group A with Denny Hamlin and Martin Truex, and they're plus 300s. I mean,
big numbers there. There's no question about it. And I tell you, I think it's worth the gamble. I mean, if you take Denny and Martin, as long as
3 Toyotas up against the 1 Hendrick Chevrolet, so I mean, you got 3 teammates. The problem is, which one do you bet? I like Denny, I like Martin, and I like Kyle.
Well,
that's my only dilemma in that group.
Kyle won here in 2009, but Kyle, and honestly, and Clint Boyer will always tell you that should have been
the race.
His win.
Yeah,
I've heard that. I've heard that story. And not Kyle Busch's. Because Kyle Busch has not led a single race after 400 miles here in the Cup Series. So for whatever reason, Vegas has not been as good to Kyle, whereas you got Martin, who's won here twice. Denny was so good last fall, even though Kurt won the race. Truex, plus 325 for he and Hamlin. Hard to leave that alone.
That's what I'm saying. My problem is picking which Gibbs car I want in that matchup. They're all so I like all 3 of those, but I just it's tough to pick it is the only problem. You go into Group B, you got Chase Elliott 210, the guy we've talked about a ton, William Byron 275, and then Kevin Harvick 300, Ryan Blaney 320. The 2 Fords, I've I don't like the Fords. Then I talk out of the other side of my mouth and say how great the Penske Fords are. Well, I like William Byron there, that 275 number.
I do too. I'm really, really high on William Byron this week. I think that I know that Vegas and Bristol are not similar at all, but I think that third place finish last week for William has certainly given that team a shot in the arm, and I think he is so good on these mile-and-a-half tracks that I think you're probably going to see him have a very strong run, and I really like him in Group B.
So do I. I agree with you on that one. I'm not as high on Kevin Harvick, even though they ran good last weekend. Even though they've been turning corners lately, just to win that group, it's too far for me to say he's going to go and compete with the Hendrick cars or the Penske Ford that they haven't competed with on these tracks.
And
yet
they've turned a corner on tracks that
yes.
I don't
on the
know
550
that I don't think they've turned a corner
package.
on a track like this yet.
Yes, and that's where I agree with you on that one. We jump into Group C here, and we end up with Brad Keselowski, 210, Alex Bowman, 275, Joey Logano, 295, and Seabell, 325. I've been saying I've been high on Seabell the whole time, but the problem is you got that Alex Bowman right there, who we also have bragged about. Then there's your two Penske Fords. You just said Penske always does run well here, even though I'm giving stats on one side. The Penske deal does come in here. This is a tough group for me.
It is a tough group. I do look at it and I think, okay, you got to take a Penske car. That's just the way I feel about this group. And if it's me, I don't think there is that much difference between Brad Keselowski and Joey Logano. So if I'm betting this group, I'm going to go Joey Logano because the odds are so much better at plus 295 compared to the plus 210. I think Bowman could run well. Not sure what to expect out of Christopher Bell. I just know Joey and Brad go into this race with a ton of confidence.
All right. I can't argue any of your language there, except I do think Seabell. I have a feeling Seabell is going to have a good day. That's just there. I gotta.
He can have a good day. I just don't know if it's going to be as good as Joey and Brad's.
All right, let's go into Group D. We got Group D starts off with our guy Kurt Busch at plus 240, then Tyler Reddick 270, teammate Austin Dillon 275, and Ross Chastain 305. If Kurt run like he has been running all season, I would say Kurt in a heartbeat. But after that last week, after that dejection of last weekend, it's like, man, what do you do? We just talked about how well normally the RCR guy's been running on these tracks. And then Ross Chastain, who I've said, this is a guy that has been showing up to play in the playoffs. He's not in it, but he's showing up to play.
Well, you're exactly right. And, I kind of harken back to the way he ran at Darlington, to kick off the playoffs. He was so strong. I think he had a top three.
He did. No, he finished. He had top 3 and top 5 in the first 2 races.
And granted, we're talking about a little bit different racing surface, a little bit bigger racetrack. But I think this sets up well for Chastain. I love how big of a number he's getting here.
It's a 300. You're getting a plus 300.
And look, you can't even talk manufacturers in this group. They're all 4 driving Chevrolets.
That's right. Teammate.
2 teammates against 2 teammates. I literally think this group is almost 4 of the same guy. So if you've got 4 of the same guy, then why not take the guy with the highest odds? I like Ross Chastain there.
I gotta say, I think that Ross. If you go back to see how he's run at the mile and a half this year, if you go back to earlier this season, it's hard to go back that far because he was struggling to start the season.
I think he is definitely a what have you done for me lately kind of guy. And here's the other thing with Ross. Ross is hitting a lot of these tracks in a good car for the second time. And I think that does make a big difference.
Nope, that's right where I was going is he started the season struggling and has turned out into now where when he sees these tracks second time, they've been playing. It doesn't matter the whole.
Well, I know we got a few seconds left, but that's thing that Riley Herbst told us about how he's going to tracks for the second time, feeling much better.
Nope. It makes a big difference, drivers. All right, guys, when we come back, we'll finish up the groups and we'll give you our picks and the team prop when we return on Gaughan Racing. Welcome back in, everybody. Brennan Gaughan, Jeff Motley. We're finishing up the groups. Man, it's so much fun on the break some days.
I'm still trying. When you said your first technical foul.
My first free throw.
I thought you said your first tech.
No, my first free throw.
Oh, your first free throw. Okay.
We're
talking about Brendan's stellar basketball career at Georgetown.
Hey,
you scored 6 points, right?
5. I can't hold up both hands. 5.
Five.
Just one hand.
You only scored 5 points? I thought you made 3 baskets.
No.
Was one of them a three-pointer?
Three free throws and a two-pointer over Donald Foyle.
And a two-pointer against St. Oh, I thought it was St. Leo.
Colgate.
Oh, it was Colgate.
Colgate, Donald Foyle, NBA superstar.
I bet that Donald Foyle has not lived it down to this day.
Iverson used to say I should open my eyes next time. Anyway, let's finish off our group matchups here. And we're going to finish off with our Group B and F. Yes, he did say that. And Group B, we start off with, this is a tough one right here. Eric Almirola just out of the playoffs at 260. Chris Boucher, 260. Daniel Suarez, 280. And Chase Briscoe, 285. This is the limping into home 400 here. Suarez, I've been talking about the most. Chase Briscoe, maybe you can say that Chase has been maybe running the best out of those in this group. But this is a tough one for me to handicap at all. I mean, I don't see anything. Chase Briscoe maybe has been the best of that group recently.
He probably has. Again, I agree with you. Tough group. Not sure I'm feeling it a whole lot in this group. I probably would stay away from it.
I mean, you got 3 Fords and 1 Chevrolet if you're talking manufacturers. Daniel Suarez, that team has had the most momentum, let's say, during most of the season. I mean, they've been up and down, but they've had at least the most positive things happening to them.
Well, Almirola did make the playoffs, so.
Yeah, but he got a win and all that. But I mean,
for a while, Busher was running well, and then he gets a new contract, and it's like, poof, he goes away.
Listen, every sport I don't get it.
How does that happen?
Every sport has that.
You get a new contract. But now Noah Gragson gets a new contract, and he goes out and wins the next 2 races.
Yeah, no. Us Vegas guys, we're goofy. What can you say? At Group F, we finish it off with Ricky Stenhouse and Bubba Wallace at 260, Cole Custer 280, Ryan Newman 285. Here's the deal. You know how I always say, we've been talking last couple weeks, Martin Truex Jr. in Group C or D. You know, Ryan Newman down in Group E.
Or Group F.
In Group F. I'm sorry, Ryan Newman he's still Ryan Newman. He still pulls stuff out of his, keister and ends up getting you decent finishes. I think Ryan Newman right there.
Well, I'm going to disagree with you. As Lee Corso says, not so fast, my friend. I like Bubba Wallace right here. And let me tell you why. I think that team got a real shot in the arm with Booty Barker taking over as crew chief, and now Mike Wheeler moving into this role.
Has Booty crew chief done anything the last couple years?
But I just think there's a certain amount of it seems like they immediately hit it off. And Bubba ran very well last week. I think Bubba finished like 11th or 12th. He ran in the top 10 for a good point last week. I think there's a camaraderie already established there, and I think with Wheels overseeing both teams with Kurt coming in there next year, I just see a dynamic there. I see a little bit of a confidence level in Bubba, and I really like Bubba in this group.
So you betting it?
Yes. I'm taking it in our picks. Ooh. I will tell you that right now.
Oh, that might make me want to go head-to-head against you in one.
Bring it.
Let's finish off we got the team props back this weekend, and no surprise here, plus 160 for Hendrick, plus 190 for Joe Gibbs. Absolutely deserved. Team Penske, plus 450. You brought up how great they are at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Might be a decent shot there. Stewart Haas Racing, 900. Then you got Chip Ganassi, 20. RCR, 28. Woods Brothers, 50. Roush Fenway, 80. JTG, 100. And you got 2311 in there, 150 to 1 shot. Let me go back and check an odd to win the race.
I don't even know if we have an odd on Bubba.
We don't have an odd on him. Okay. So, Bubba Wallace's odds to win the race, 150 to 1.
There's a reason why Hendrick and Gibbs are under 200.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Bar none.
If you're going to take a flyer here, take it on Team Penske.
No, I agree
Plus
with you.
450. I think that's a pretty good number. And you're getting 3 quality drivers and 5 total wins at Las Vegas.
I was just going to say who've all won at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. So it's a good shot right there. I do like the 450 on Team Penske. If you're looking for differentiation and a decent bet, I do like the Penske bet. And it could happen. Even though I've poo-pooed the Fords all day, I do agree with you on that one. All right, well, let's look at how we did last weekend, Mr. Motley. While I was in my absence, I did send my picks in, and thank you,
I want to point out, in case you have not gone back and watched last week's show, we gave you your kudos for doing so well the week before. Like we thought you might actually say, "Forget Baja, I'm going to sit on the set and gloat."
I wanted to. Trust me, I wish I could have, but I could not. I was in the middle of nowhere that day and not able to make it. But last week, once again, the winner, 2 weeks in a row now. Oh no, you won last week. Dang it, I forgot. But It was a decent week for you and me and the pit crew back on their -5 days. You were plus 230. You got Truex to win and Matty D to win his group also. Both those guys in group wins. I got my Kevin Harvick top 3. I said Kevin.
You had Kevin to win, and you were really close.
Oh, dude. I texted you. I was so pissed off. I was like, come on. 3 laps to go, Kevin. Wreck the guy. Would you give me an 11-1 win?
I thought you were going to get that one.
Oh,
and look, here's the other one. You and I both had Christopher Bell in Group C. Christopher Bell ran in the top 3 all night long and cut a tire down with like 35 laps to go.
So, I mean, we had a couple good ones there. The pit crew did not have a good weekend. I've come a long way. I'm still -20s, but I was almost -30s a couple weeks ago, so I'm going the right direction. Pit crew is positive. They've dropped themselves back down to the negatives.
I think we got to give Wes.
And I was going to say
we got a graphic on.
I think
Wes's
we had
pick.
Wes's picks last weekend.
Wes was
also,
our guest picker
Wes
last
did
week.
Wes did a nice
Wes.
job picking right there. He got Matty D to win Group E. He got a Kevin Harvick head-to-head with Chase Elliott. So
would have been on the plus side.
On the plus side. So we'll take the plus side
He
for
won 3/4.
old Wes Reynolds. We got to give him a little love on that one. And without that, Mr. Motley, it's time for us to give us our picks. And of course, the pit crew, who was 0 for last weekend, I've got hot off the press right here. I had the pit crew picks. Isaiah phoned him up from the bullpen. They called in the lefty. And they're going to start off with the pit crew as a Kurt Busch top 3 at plus 850. They like that. They think that Kurt's going to make a rebound. Brad K, top 3 at plus 500. They've listened to you. Denny Hamlin, Group A at 325. William Byron, Group B at 275. And Denny Hamlin over Kurt Busch at plus 110. Interesting little tidbit there.
All right.
Well, since I was second last week, I will take the middle slot on our picks here. And I'm going to start off with 3 top 3s. Jumping right in, top 3s. I'm going to try, if I get all 3, would that be awesome if I ended up nailing all 3?
Like a trifecta.
Hey. Do I get a bonus points for the trifecta?
No.
I think we'll see if I hit the trifecta.
We'll have to call Vinny to figure it out from a pari-mutuel betting or something.
I got Denny Hamlin top 3 plus 230. I like the number. I do like William Byron at that 400 top 3. And I'm taking Seabell 650 as my long shot top 3 there. I do think that Seabell, like I said, I'm high on Seabell right now. So those are my top 3s. I do have one head-to-head. Martin Truex plus 140. Come on. How can I leave Martin Truex laying there in a head-to-head matchup at a plus 140? That's just there's too much meat on that bone for me not to jump in that one. And then I do have one of my – I've got too many pieces of paper here. What did I do with it? One group matchup that I picked, and my group matchup was –
You don't even know who it was.
I do have it. What did I do with the piece of paper? It was Group A or B or C. It was Group C.
Group C?
Yeah, who's Group C?
Bowman, Logano, or Bell?
No, it wasn't Group C. Oh, here it is. Hey, what was my 5th pick? I forgot my 5th pick.
He forgot to make 5 picks.
No, I had a 5th pick.
We've only been doing this for 4 years.
There it is. Found it. I'm going head-to-head with you, Ryan Newman. I'm going to Group F. I want to be head-to-head against you. I figured it'd be fun.
Okay.
After my 2-minute trying to find my 5th pick, as the producers are shaking their head going, you suck.
Okay. Well, you and I are only going to agree on one pick this week, and that is Denny Hamlin for a top 3.
Like it?
I am going with Denny top 3. The rest of my picks, I'm going groups for all the rest of mine. I am going to stick by what I said. Love William Byron in Group B. I'm going Byron plus 275. I'm going Joey Logano in Group C. I'm taking Ross Chastain in Group D, the long shot at plus 305. And I am putting my money where my mouth is. I'm going Bubba Wallace at plus 260 in Group F.
We got a head-to-head battle right there.
Got a head-to-head battle in that one. Nice.
All right. Well, Mr. Motley, we successfully ended another show with me and you together. It's a busy week for both of us. You of course, got to probably go back to the Speedway after this today.
I'll be heading straight back there now, and we got a busy weekend of racing, and looking forward to just having the whole NASCAR industry in Las Vegas.
It's neat
always
seeing
fun.
driver appearances again, too, which is nice.
We got drivers making appearances, and we got retired drivers making appearances.
Well, and I want to throw this out there to kind of help some of the boys. NASCAR is allowing driver appearances, but, folks, there are COVID protocols for these drivers.
Right. We can't do autographs. They can't interact on a receiving line.
Yeah, so the taking pictures, the bringing a die cast, letting us sign it. Guys, just deal with us through this extremely, look, be happy we're allowed to do them again. We're allowed to do Q&As. They can hand out lot of guys are coming with pre-signed cards, so they have them. Just want to throw that out there for the folks coming to the race this weekend. Just be patient with us. You know, the guys got to work their way through this, and you know, you don't need to have any instance with it. When you got the retired guy, I don't care. The retired guy. So I'll be there. See you next week when we return and break down the South Point 400 on Gaughan Racing, and we'll break down
Talladega.
Talladega, my favorite one, the crapshoot. See you next week, guys. Thanks for joining.